Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mother Load. As we do every week, we are going to be talking about all things motherhood, different topics that apply to you or someone special in your life. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, but we always learn about those important issues and hopefully lighten our loads just a little bit. I'm your host, Jennifer Bullock. And once again, during each episode, we talk about these variety of topics that are really timely, but also impact a lot of us the most. If you tuned in last week, then you saw that we had a discussion about a couple of local organizations that are hosting these awareness initiatives happening all around this time of year, usually September and October. That includes NICU Awareness Month. That ran through the month of September. And we talked a little bit about the work that Ohio Health specifically does through its Mother's Milk Bank to support those medically fragile newborn babies, but also their families as well.
The milk bank started 20 years ago, and we're actually getting ready to celebrate that 20th anniversary soon. So we take donations of human milk that are excess that mothers or families may have either in their freezer for a limited amount of time or as an ongoing donation if they have a surplus or they're an oversupplier.
And the fact that it's been around for 20 years is, I think, an incredible testament of not just how much it may be needed, but how much it's wanted by some families who maybe want to give their baby the nutrients of breast milk, but for one reason or another may not be able to do that on their own.
It's a really cool program. I like to say we're small but mighty, because we are like we say we're Grant's best kept secret, because not everybody knows about us, but we're getting there. That's what we're doing these kinds of things for. We really want people to know about us and to utilize us to the fullest degree.
How can we support a community that we're located in that has a very high mortality rate for babies? How can we educate moms and families about donation and how life-saving this is? Human milk actually works by coating the gut of all babies, but especially in premature babies. Their intestines are very fragile and can be compromised very easily. And there is a condition, it's called necrotizing enterocolitis, but we call it NEC, and it can be very life-altering and also deadly to a fragile baby. So it's important to give that medication, which human milk is at that point. It's a medication to coat their gut to protect it from the things that could get in there and cause that deadly infection.
You may not be aware, though, that the milk bank also has a space for moms and their families who have experienced pregnancy or infant loss. And as we are now in the month of October, October is recognized as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Obviously, that's an initiative really near and dear to my family, bringing awareness to that loss as I lost my son, Miles, in 2021 at 33 weeks of pregnancy. And there are a lot of things that people just really don't realize can happen after that loss takes place, especially to a woman's body. Sometimes those moms are just kind of at a loss of what to do next. So I had a chat with that same team from Ohio Health to bring awareness to that. Be sure to stay tuned for that part of the conversation next.
October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month.
Yeah.
That is a cause that is very near and dear to me as, I lost my son, Miles, 33 weeks, stillborn in 2021. And I think that a lot of people are not aware or just have no idea about the fact that there is still a space within the milk bank for moms who
That's right.
may have lost children. And so, Marla, just tell me a little bit about the legacy within Ohio Health when it comes to that.
Sure. So we have a pretty comprehensive legacy program that we have built over time. It's always been a part of the milk bank, but it has really been something that we talk a lot more about. And that we have done a lot of education with lactation professionals across the state giving them guidelines to talk about the possibility of donation. And donation after loss, we recognize those babies. We put their name and their date of birth on a legacy tree that we have here. They have an open invitation to come here anytime they want. They're not all from Columbus. Most of them are not from Columbus, I would say. But we have had people, like we had someone who was from Kentucky that was in Michigan for an event, and they were passing through Columbus, and I had sent them a picture of the tree and a picture of their baby's name on a leaf. And so they knew right where it was. So they just stopped by, and they're welcome here anytime they would like to come. There are some different things about donation after loss that we want to make it accessible to everyone who desires to do that. So there is no minimum donation. If they are on a medication or have some type of lifestyle history that restricts them or restricts their milk from being fed to babies, we will use it for research.
Wow.
So we aren't saying no to anybody who's donation after loss. We find some way to help babies with that milk, whether it's through research or feeding other babies. And every ounce can feed 3 premature babies per day.
Wow.
So I've had bereaved moms who donate one time and they might donate 20 ounces. And I had another bereaved mom who pumped till her baby's 2nd birthday. Just
Wow.
because she was having a difficult time. So how can we support those bereaved moms in their time of grief that just might be helpful for them? What can we do for them? And we're working with Ohio Health's bereavement program as well right now, which will offer them free counseling via Zoom if they would like to take part in that. They are being invited to events that are at Kobacker House in the
Yep.
spring and the fall for either bulb planting or flower planting that they can do in memory of their baby. So we kind of do that on a rotating basis with how we're working with them. And, I'm really passionate about talking to those moms and giving them a space to talk about their baby if they want to do that.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important messages that we've gotten out about bereavement to the lactation community is they need to talk to them about breast care. Because that is the most important thing. Even if it's not donation, those people, these moms and families are going to go home and their milk's going to come in.
Yep.
Just because you lost your baby doesn't mean your milk's going to come in. And so then if they aren't aware that that's going to happen or prepared for that, I'm not sure if you had that experience.
I did.
If you're not prepared for that, it's just a whole nother thing that, and I've even talked with moms that were very early in their pregnancy. I think of one not too long ago that was 18 weeks. And so they told her because she was so early, her milk wasn't going to come in. Well, that's not true. She went home and her milk came in. And we've had a lot of great conversations on the phone as she's been donating. So we just want to give them a space to know that their baby's name is said and it's said out loud and it's mentioned. And if they want to talk about their baby, I'm glad to listen to them.
Oh, I love that. You said so many great things about this that I wasn't even aware of. So I'm learning as well, and I'm just blown away by what's being done to support these families because you're right. I mean, my experience was very different at a different hospital system. And it was after the fact, after I started talking to more people, did a little bit more research, that I realized all the holes, everything that was missing, everything that I felt was lacking in my bereavement support experience. And that includes, the trauma that comes with, you don't get to take your baby home and then your milk comes in and then you're just kind of left with, what do I do? And Michaela, I do want to talk to you earlier before we started recording. You were talking about that legacy tree and how every time you walk by it, it just kind of brings up emotions in you. And I think that that's a natural thing, right? But especially for somebody who's an expectant mom, there's a lot that comes with that. And so just tell me a little bit about your experience with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is my favorite place in the milk bank. And I know I mentioned before we were recording that I would love to I think eventually when we are able to expand, it's not in our lobby because
Mhm.
our lobby is very, very tiny. And I would love to have it in our lobby just because it's a little bit more in the back of the milk bank, which we always
Oh,
take, families back there to see, especially if they're there for bereavement purposes. But anytime we do a tour, that's a highlight of the tour. That's my favorite part of the tour. But walking past it, I've actually, and this is, it's been really hard for me as an expecting mom. Sometimes I will go the other door through so I don't have to walk past it just because it's such an emotional space.
yeah.
And it's still my favorite part, but there's some days where it's a lot. There's a lot of names up there,
Yep.
and it's sad. I mean, to
Yeah.
be completely blunt, it's just very sad. But it's an amazing way for us to honor all of these beautiful babies, and these families. Uh, and it's just very close and near and dear to my heart now, even more so. Like when I first started, it was my favorite piece. When I
Mhm.
took my very first tour, when I was interviewing, it was my very favorite piece. It's still my favorite piece. And it's just it's an amazing way for us to honor those lost infants that unfortunately weren't able to spend time with their families and get those
Yeah,
experiences and live their lives out. And I just think that it's one of the most amazing pieces of work we do. And Marla's really put a lot of effort into wanting to expand our bereavement program since they started. We've had this new I guess, engagement with the bereavement team at Ohio Health. We didn't really know that they'd offered these services I mean, I guess probably last year.
Yeah.
But starting this year, we started working with them. Marla's been really close with that team, and has been to a couple of the events. There's more events coming up in October that we've shared with the other associates there. If you want to go and support the moms and the families there, it's just an incredible space, and I think it's amazing that we can do something to honor those moms and the babies and the entire family.
Yeah.
But it's just a really meaningful space. I think for most people, when we're doing tours, that's usually where people will get teary eyed. I
Yeah.
think more recently we've had. We've added more staff to our team, and I swear the last like 5 interviews, we've had people get really emotional walking back there, and
Yeah.
but it goes to show how important that space is. And there's like you kind of had mentioned earlier that if you don't have a space to go and honor your baby, if you don't have that, this is that space. You can do that
Yeah.
there. And that's something that we, like Marla says, they're always welcome to stop by. Any bereaved mom, family. I know there is a family that I just recently learned about when I started, but they come every year on their baby's birthday. And with their youngest, who is I think 2 or 3 now. Marla might be able
she's
to correct
two.
me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And they come and they visit the team, they see the tree. It's just a really special moment for them. And I love that we can offer that. I just hope
Yeah.
one day um, we can really have this. I would love to have a whole space dedicated
Yeah.
just for this so that, parents can
Absolutely.
really come and
Yeah.
take a moment. um, it's incredible. That's my favorite part of the milk bank. It's a cool program. I love that we never turn milk away. When Marlo shared that with
Yeah.
me when I first started, that meant a lot. And I always make sure when I'm doing a tour to share that with whoever. Like we never turn milk away from bereaved moms ever.
I love
Um,
that. That is
yeah,
so wonderful. I think what you ladies and what this program and this entire system is doing to support these families is so important, and something is better than a whole lot of nothing. And that's coming from
Absolutely.
somebody who has a lived experience. So I could just chat with you all day about all of this. But at some point, I know you got to go to work. So, ladies, just thank you so much for sharing this, not only with me, but with our audience. And I know for a fact that there's a family out there who just got some confirmation and realized that there is support for them. So I will make sure that we have links to Ohio Health's system and bereavement program and the milk bank as well, because it is so necessary. It's so important. And I just hope these families know that they are so supported. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
All right, be sure to stay tuned here. Coming up after this break, I'm going to chat with Celebrate One, another Columbus organization, about a new campaign that they just launched. And this really will highlight some local stories of loss, including my own. And that's coming up next on The Mother Load. Welcome back to the Mother Load. We've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of weeks, especially about some awareness months and some of the ways that local organizations are bringing attention to and putting a spotlight on some of those initiatives. And one of those organizations is Celebrate One. I am joined now by Agata, who is with Celebrate One. It's so good to have you today to have a little chat with me about this kind of new initiative, this new campaign that Celebrate One is working on as we enter the month of October, which is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, something that I'm very connected to, but so many other families in our communities as well. So just tell me a little bit about this campaign.
So Jennifer, thank you so much for having me on today. It is such a pleasure to be here to share Untold Stories campaign. This is something that has truly come from the heart. It has come from the families. It has come from the stories. And we feel like it is so important at Celebrate One to really uphold the lived experience of the families in the community. So we are launching a campaign called Untold Stories, Journeys of Resilience and Hope. It is a 6-month video campaign that will be live on our social media. And it is really at the core about the belief that shared lived experience lights the path for others. We really want to uplift some of the hardships that are in infant and maternal health. As you know, there's a lot of shame and a lot of silence, stigma that comes with some of those harder stories.
Yeah.
And so we really want to be a place where families can feel connected, can really understand they're not alone, and that these complications and these really difficult journeys happen to everyone across the community. And so this campaign is really hopefully going to uplift that work.
Absolutely. And I know you and I have, had a separate conversation where we kind of talked about what this campaign will feature. And what I really love is that even though it's taking place starting in Pale Awareness Month, it's not all just about loss. As you mentioned, a lot of times it's about those really tough complications, maybe some really long journeys for families. So what are some of those untold stories that are going to be featured?
Yeah, so I will give you the breakdown here so you guys know what to look forward to. But we are starting in October. It is a Pale Month. So we are starting with actually our own infant vitality manager, Tiffany Gross, and her story. Her story really is a story of loss. It's a story of heartbreak and of resilience. So she kicks us off really showing us that no matter how hard the journey is, there's light on the other side. And then we kind of lean into other things such as mental health and pregnancy and how hard it is to get services for moms who are pregnant. We lean into what does it feel like to be in the NICU and how do you need to be supported when you're there. We start the year off with a story of stillbirth, actually your own. So we thank you for that. That's an important topic that's hard to talk about. We then would lead into substance use in pregnancy and how does that feel for families and how do you overcome that journey? And we're happy to close the series off with a really special segment for parenting after loss. We're featuring Shanae Scott, who actually was on our Real People, Real Stories campaign almost 9 years ago.
Wow.
And we are happy to feature her story as the strength of, getting pregnant again, and how does loss impact your pregnancies and um, your parenting journey. And we're gonna close it out, Jennifer, with a live panel, storytelling. How is storytelling part of advocacy, and how do we use um, the unfortunate pain that people have gone through to really turn that into passion for this community?
And I think that is so incredible. The moment you told me about this campaign, I was so excited about it because there is such a variety of stories and a variety of women and backgrounds. And it's just incredible to put names and faces to some of these stories that we hear or we may read about, these statistics, and reminding people in the community that this is actively happening. But also, I like what you said, that there is still hope, and so they're able to share what it's like to come out on the other side, right?
Yeah, and I think if you haven't lived through one of these stories, they feel so far away, right? Like you're not impacted. I don't know anybody. But
Yeah.
Jennifer, you're on the news, right? People all over this community see you, and some of them may not know your story, and some of them are learning about it, and some of them are already so connected. But I'm hoping this campaign does truly show that all of these traumas are closer to home than they feel. It could be your neighbor, it could be your uncle, it could be the person that you tune into on the TV every single day. Um, and so it's really connecting us to the truth that at the core, the people that are struggling around us, there is hope, and how that one word of kindness can truly change someone's journey. And that's something that we're hoping people leave with, right? That the community that we surround people with truly can make a difference in their lives.
Well, I absolutely love that. And I'm so looking forward to seeing this campaign unfold. As you mentioned, I was asked to be featured as well. So I'm really excited to be able to share my story. And as you mentioned, just talk about that little bit of hope that you continue to see even after experiencing loss like that. And the fact that this community panel, right, it's going to give the community a chance to really listen, to learn, and to maybe feel seen if they can relate, but maybe just haven't found the words to tell their own story.
Yeah, I think not everyone is ready, right? Not everyone wants to share. Not everyone is ready to share. I think that journey of healing and self-discovery after something like that is a hard one. It's a hard one, but it is such a powerful journey of self-discovery. And so we really are hoping to to welcome everyone, right? Wherever you are in your path, if you just want to come, if you need the hope, if you are going to be there with us to uplift your own story, we really want to create a community and a sense of belonging, because the trauma happens, but we don't have to suffer in silence, and we don't have to suffer alone.
Absolutely. Well, Agana Brenneman, thank you so much for sharing that. And a reminder for anybody who's been watching or listening, just go to Celebrate One's social media channels. You'll see those campaigns each month starting October 3rd. And then, of course, Celebrate One will continue to post information about the panel that will follow that 6-month campaign. And Agata, before you go, I do just want to say, I am so appreciative of the work that you've put into this campaign. I know that you were really a driving force behind it, and I just think it's going to be so impactful. So I'm grateful to have somebody like you on the side of families who have experienced this kind of pain and loss. It's so incredibly important to have supporters and people who walk alongside us.
Jennifer, thank you so much. Thank you for featuring me. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking our call to be on the Untold Stories. As we said, your story is so impactful and really touches so many lives. And we're so happy to have you walking alongside. So thank you for all of this.
And I thank you for joining us today. Again, I hope we were able to lighten your load just a little bit and educate you in some ways that maybe you haven't thought about pregnancy and infant loss awareness,
Again, I hope
especially
we were able
during
to
this
lighten
time
your
of
load
year.
just a
Now,
little
before we
bit
go, I do
and
want to leave you with
educate
just
you
a
in
little
some
quote
ways
as I
that
do
maybe you
every
haven't thought
week.
about
This one
pregnancy
is
and
very
infant
sweet,
loss
very
awareness,
simple,
especially
and I
during
think really
this time
fitting
of
for
year.
today's
Now,
topic.
before we go, I do
It
want to
says
leave you with just a
micro
little quote
joys
as I do
are how we
every
survive
week. This one
macro
is very
grief.
sweet,
So
very
look for those
simple,
micro
and I
joys
think
this
really
week.
fitting
Have
for
a great
today's
week.
topic.
You got
It
this,
says
mama,
micro
and we'll see you
joys
next time.
are how we survive